Hello guys, I'm back in a favourite location of mine and I'm going to do a tarp tent setup today. If you follow my channel you would have seen I use that very often, predominantly in more adverse weather conditions. I'm sure I could improve on it. I don't know if I can, and that is why I'm here. I have a multi-day trail hike through the Scottish mountains coming up, and I just want to see if I can reduce the actual entrance size to the tarp tent. How I do it now is kind of hit or miss. On some occasions when I've put it up, I've thought to myself, I've really got this nailed, and then on other occasions I think to myself, how come I've got such a big entrance into the tarp? Then I have to start stuffing my bergen into the hole to try and close it up and reduce the wind and heat loss for myself. Like I said, I use it in more adverse weather conditions. I predominantly, and well, 99% of the time it's tarp for me, so I really need to get this nailed. One tarp, one ground sheet, a pole to go as the centre support, some cordage, some ground pegs and some bungees, and a brew kit for later. So as you can see, it's as simple as you can get, but like I said, it's down to that being not as good as the civilian one to, in dimension wise, to actually get the tarp set up as neat and tidy as what you see other YouTubers. You can still do it, but it's not as it doesn't look as, like I said, neat and tidy. The first bit of kit really I'm going to need is the pegs, but I've got to get my tarp laid out in a flat format so I can look at it and work out what I'm going to do. So I don't need the ground sheet because that'll be the last thing. I'm going to get this laid out. Right, I've got it laid out, and that's going to be my back direction, because quite simply I've got some wind coming in on this direction, so my entrance is going to be up here. You can pretty much hide yourself from 3 quadrants of wind direction. I'm trying to reduce the hole I get in and out of. Easier said than done, because like I said, you're limited a little bit with the tarp. I may sound like I'm knocking it. I'm not. It's a fantastic piece of kit. You can make all the configurations, but you have to fudge a lot of them due to the dimensions of it. But anyway, I'm going to peg out the back and we'll have a go from here. Right, I've got this hole. Like I said, I used the tarp tent load, so I'm just going to peg it out and use it as I set it up. Then I'm going to see if I can make any adjustments, but basically I'm going to peg these 3 holes here in the tarp, leaving the corner ones free. Not too worried about ramming it in the ground, because like I said, I could be moving stuff to adjust in a minute. So I've pegged out the back. Now I'm going to move to the sides. Right, I'm coming across here, and what I'm going to do is use this loop here. I'm going to put 1 peg in there. There's an eyelet underneath actually. You can go for that. It's hidden there. And then this corner, all I'm going to do is just fold it in underneath itself. So basically I've cut the corner off. I'm going to repeat that over there. Right, I've got those corners folded in, as you can see. So basically I've took the triangle shape off it. I'm coming to the front, and the corner eyelet I'm moving over to where this one is. So basically I'm pulling it across like that and I'm pegging it, and that would be the underneath one, not the top one. There, like that. So you end up with a piece of material flapping like that. I'm going to do on the opposite side. Right, bringing that corner over to where that hole is. There. As you can see, all I've done is brought the corner over, slid it under to where roughly this hole is, and then I'm just going to peg the underneath one. Yet again, leaving a flapping piece of material. So now what I'm going to do is get my pole together and go in underneath and kind of create the roof. Right then guys, I've got this contraption, just a piece of dowel wood from a curtain hanger, some rubber ferrules from hiking sticks. Obviously I make hiking sticks, they're in ready supply. I've just got a bolt that's screwed in there. I'll put them together. I've got a pre-drilled hole, screw it up, lock it, there you go. I've got a ready support to go inside the tarp tent, and it's at the rough size that I need. I can jack it up a little bit on the bottom with anything I have at hand. But you're probably thinking, why don't I use a stick or something like that? Sometimes you just don't want to go hunting around and cutting, and if it's bad weather you just want to get the tarp tent up. Hence why I made this. You're probably going to get a shot of my ass as I go in there and fiddle around and get this in, but yeah, don't be too alarmed. So I'll get this done, you can watch and we'll have a little look and see where we are then. Right, you can avoid it, you have to actually climb in underneath. If you've got a ground sheet and it's wet, I suggest you start feeding that through as you go in. It can be awkward, but better to stay dry than have to try and dry yourself off at a later stage. Right, all I'm doing is lifting it up, and you can see the beginnings of the tarp tent already. But I've got to find out the best position to stake my pole. I'm going to find it in there. Right, before I take you inside to see what it looks like at the moment, this is what you've got outside. What you've done by moving those, going to the second grommet and leaving that flapping bit on the corner, is created the doorway with the loose material. You can see it's relatively taut here. But this is the thing that I'm trying to eradicate or trying to do something about. We'll see that in a minute. It's how it sags down. Well, you'll see how I combat that, but I'm trying to work out, is there a better way for me to do this? But in any case, you can see what we... And don't be too deceived. There is a fair bit of room in there. Right, we'll go in here. So this is the flap we created, and we'll go in. I've got my rubber grommet on the main seam line, so I'm not stressing the material just in case it's really windy. That's obviously the strongest part and the load bearing part. Right. I'm inside here. This is the entrance. Right, I'm up against the pole here, but I'm right against the back wall. I have another 3 feet in front of me, I can go easy. But I'm going to set the doorway up and we'll start playing around now. and seeing how we can improve on this once I've put the final guidelines out. And this is how I traditionally put it up on every occasion, but I do feel that I could probably tweak it to get that little bit more comfort room. Right, we're going to create the doorway or porch, but it's not really a porch, it's a doorway. But basically we've got to get a bungee, pull the flap around and attach it to one of the anchor points on the tarp itself. It'll all become apparent. Right, what I'm going to do is come down here. You can see I've got a hole there. Actually, this is quite hard one-handed. Right, try and feed that through. Come on. Right, how hard can it be to thread a bungee through with one hand? Right there. I'm lifting the flap back around and I'm finding an anchor point. Depending on your bungee, how strong it or how much give there is in it. I'm going to go in this one to start with. Yet again, I'm struggling with one hand. There, feed it in. Right, that's loose at the minute, but as soon as I pull that around the opposite side in the same fashion, this will all become tight. I've hitched up this side, and as I pull this, you can start to see everything become taut. Right, I think I can put it down to this one actually. I'll do the same to the opposite side. This is so hard with one hand. There. I'll put it over there on that one. There. Right. Right. You can see what we've got there now is a doorway. But the thing for me is, I don't see any way of reducing the crawling space. I usually throw my Bergen in there to cover it up, not an issue. But because I'm going to the Highlands in the winter, I'm just thinking, can I reduce that even further? But in any case, we've got to now put out the guidelines. I'll show you how that happens. Right, for the next bit, one peg and your cordage. I'm going to attach it to one of the best points I can find on the front. Basically, I'm going to run a line out, peg it to the ground and attach it to it to give me extra support. You can use it like that, and I have done when I really cannot be bothered to do that. But if you've got winds, every little bit helps, as they say. Right. There are straps here. The one good thing about the army tarps, they do come with an abundance of tie-off points and strap points. Just tying it off. And I'll bring it out here. Put that peg in there like that. Just do a loop. There. Get the peg, it's in the loop. Pull it taut. Won't worry too much about that. We're going to go around the back and find another tie-off point and tie the rest and the back of the tent out. That should create that little bit more room as it pulls the back of the tarp away from me. But it's still, I'm trying to think, can I gain some more space there? Righty guys, same thing, one peg, some cordage. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 loops running down the back of that tarp, but one's at ground level, so that's of no use to me. I'm going to try and figure out which is the best one running up the back of the tarp to give me the most headroom. I usually go for the centre one. It's already crimped in where my rope's been around it multiple times. But I'm going to play about, so excuse me if there's a little bit more of a flaff about, because I want to do a little bit of an experimentation here. So yeah, you just have a quick little watch. I will try and edit out most of my flapping. And I'm starting this job off already with tangled cordage. Always put your kit away properly. Because if it was raining now, I wouldn't want to be sorting this out. Right. That one there. This is the one I usually go to. Right, this is the point we've actually got a shelter, the tarp tent there. From here, if you were satisfied, you could start pegging out these ends here, and you could peg them out at like another, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches in that direction to give you more room. And that's what I've traditionally done. But I'm thinking if I could get that pole another few inches back on the tarp that way, the front would drop down, meaning that would drop further down another few inches. Yeah, this is all going to be me playing about, and that's what I've come here for. Right, I've got my ground sheet. Let's go inside. And as you can see, it's opened up into a nice sized tent area. I'll get this down, lie down, and you can see exactly how much room I've got. One person, I can get all my kit in here and myself. Right, I do have to lift up this one and feed it through. So that could be awkward with one hand here. And I'll move it all around. Right then, I'm in here and I've got a fair bit of room before I get to the door. I've got a fair bit of headroom here. I can get upright like this. I can get on my knees. Not that you can probably see. And you can see I do have headroom. I can administer myself in here. It is quite possible. And I have, you know, quite enough working area over here for my Bergen and everything like that. And I have actually, you know, put my stove just outside the tent there and operated so that I'm in the tent, but a foot outside that I'm actually doing a brew. This is a definite feasible setup, but I'm just trying to improve how I do it with the limited, as you can see, ability to do any tweaks. But I have vast amount of space over here, and behind me my feet will go down there. I'm 5'7" and I'm comfortably in here. Once you get to about 6 feet, it could be a bit of a struggle, but yeah, one of the advantages of being short. But yeah, this does work. Right, what happens if I put this at an angle and take it up over here? Yeah, that does actually bring the trouble is it collapses it a little bit down there. What about going even further? Yeah, that does make a difference. all I'm doing is putting an angle on this. I could have set it up further down here, but the problem is you start taking away, and basically the tarp is just over the top of you then. How far can I go? This is at a stupid angle now. So I've dug my pole in like this. Obviously I'm going to be in my doubled up sleeping bag, bivvy bag, on top of this ground sheet. And I've been able to take that door completely down to just almost a few inches. This may work. Right, I've got that pole at an angle in there. I've dropped the door or the entrance a good 4 to 5 inches there. But as you can see, by doing that, I've lost some of the slack, or I've created slack in the back. So I'm probably going to have to tighten that up and probably go down to the second loop to pull it off. That will create the space I need in there where the tarp isn't resting on my bivvy. So yeah, I think I might have got a setup if it is kind of adverse weather conditions and I really want to hunker down in there. I'm going to see if I can do anything with these bungees on there in a moment, but I'm going to see if I can get that a bit tauter. So I'm going to do that and I'll bring you back. Well, what a dog's dinner that is. I've pushed this tarp tent set up to the point it's almost a car crash now. So I think I'm going to take it back to its original setting, or setup as I usually do it. As you can see, it would just pull too much water at the back of that. No, I need to get that back to being a tarp tent. I think stuffing the hole with my Bergen is probably the best bet. Well, I've put my tent back into its original configuration as a tarp tent, how I normally set it up. But to close that door, it just got so much of a dog's dinner. I've concluded that's not going to work. I've been playing around, sweating, climbing in and out, and that's what I wanted to do today. But I've got an oversized tent peg, and I've just taken the bungees off that hold the doorway open. I've used the grommets that are on the end of the actual tarp, put them together, threaded through the tent peg and stuck it in the ground, and I've closed up a majority of that hole. I'll let you have a look. Well, there you go. I've put it back in its configuration as a tarp tent. You can see I've got good run off there now, back again on all sides. Did I peg that one off? I could have pegged that out a bit further. There. There. Right. Basically, I've took the bungees off that would have been on that grommet over here, which held the door open. And I've got one of these real big ground pegs, which I've fed through the doorway, which would have been pulled back like that. I've just brought it over, took the things off. I've tried it inside the tent and I can actually do it. Just thread it through. Fine, I'm going to struggle with one hand. I'll set you up so you can watch me. Find this one here. Taking it right up close to the other one. Like that. Put my hand through this bit here. Patting this down. Basically pushing down like that. And the flap, which is inside there, just roll up and tuck in there so the water channel would go down there. Right then, I'm drinking up my coffee and the temperature's dropping quite a bit now. The last of the sun is just beginning to go down behind the trees. As far as that tarp tent, well, it is what it is, and I don't think no amount of playing around that I'm going to come up with any genius solutions to that hole. And in fact, probably the best one, and it's probably been utilised by everybody, military and civilian, and that is shoving a Bergen or your rucksack in that hole to block it off. And I'll probably end up doing that. I have got an idea that I might try and make something there to go across it, like a waterproof bit of material, but am I just creating more issues and problems for myself? It's time and tested as it is. So yeah, I'm hoping to get a wild camp midweek. That may happen, it may not happen. You know, if everything aligns for me and everything works out, I may get one. Like I said, temperatures are dropping, so it'd be nice to go out and test out some of my winter kit. So all that's left to be said is take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys on the trail.